If you missed out on Collider's early screening and Q&A of the Searching follow-up film, Missing starring Storm Reed, no worries. Perry Nemiroff moderated the post-screening interview with directors Will Merrick and Nicholas Johnson, Reed, and producers Natalie Kasabian, Sev Ohanian, and Anish Chaganty, and we've got the full conversation for you right here. Missing follows June's Reed frantic search to track down her mother, Grace, Nia Long, when she mysteriously disappears while on vacation in Colombia with her new boyfriend. When June's attempts to uncover clues from home are thwarted by international regulations and procedures, she opts to turn to her everyday technology and the web-based tools available to her at the click of a button. Collider's Ross Bonamy calls Missing and Quat clever and quat, and adds, and quat, it keeps its cards close to the chest so the audience will be guessing the whole way through, and quat, before Missing hits theaters nationwide. On January 20, the team behind the film divulged behind-the-scenes information, no spoilers, of course, for Collider readers and viewers to enjoy. During the Q&A, we learned why Chaganty, Kasabian, and Ohanian opted to hand the directing reins over to Johnson and Merrick, and how the screen thriller filmmaking process has evolved since making Searching. They also walked us through what it was like choosing a title for the new film and teased Easter eggs to look out for, including Ohanian's personal favorite, the alien subplot that now runs through both Searching and Missing. The team also discussed how important test screenings are to their projects, and how any change to iOS would send them back to the editing room. Reed also talks about the new challenges Missing posed for her as an actor, what it was like operating cameras herself, and how she developed the mother-daughter relationship with Nia Long. You can check out all of this and more in the video above, or you can read the full transcript down below. Aneesh Chaganty. I've known these guys since I was in college. Will Merrick edited some of my earliest work that started my career, and we've been working together since then. They edited Searching, they edited Run, and when you've seen Searching, you don't just edit this movie, you are one of the core filmmakers of this movie. And they learned everything, it was no question. After you make a movie like this, you never want to touch computer screens again, which for me, I was like, and quat, never doing that again, and quat. These guys know everything and more, so we went to them easily. Will Merrick, man, I don't know. It's really hard to describe the difference in what we do. Natalie, you said in one of those interviews, it's like a left brain, right brain thing where we both do everything, but in a different way. Nicholas Johnson, I think with Will and I, it was a very natural progression of working together. I think one of the cool things about our team, the 5 of us, is that it's been such a collaborative team from Searching through Run and this that it just felt like a natural. We all have different roles, but we're all still there, still the same 5 people making a movie. SEV OHANIAN. The thing that I think makes this team work, and I'd like to think it does work, and you guys may be the judge of that having watched the movie, is that everyone is fighting for the same thing. And that's the movie. At all times, ego aside, what's the best thing for this movie? And yes, sometimes it turns into very passionate debates and arguments, but at the end of the day, as long as we're making the right movie that tells the emotion and the cinematic journey we want to take the audience on, we know that's the right answer. Storm Reed, I read the missing script and I was totally engaged. I was at the edge of my seat the entire time. When I thought I knew what was going on, I figured out I had nothing and I knew nothing that was happening. Laughs. I don't think I asked the question, but repeatedly while we were in pre-production, I was just like, and what? How are we gonna do this? How are we gonna pull this off? And what? But I was so comfortable on set. They made me feel so comfortable. It was an easy process. And yes, it was challenging because I had to hold the camera and hold the computers, and it wasn't like a film that I have ever filmed before. But I think once I got the hang of it and we got a flow, and Will and Nick, we, of course, created a bond, and we worked really well together. I think it turned out well. Read. I knew going in. Because I had watched Searching when the opportunity came about, and I knew that it was going to be really good. But the technical aspect was gonna be challenging, and everything is shot through a computer, shot through a ring camera. It's not traditional. So I knew that it was gonna be a challenge, and it was a challenge. But like I said, once we figured it out, once we got the hang of it, once I figured out how to hold the computer correctly and the eyelines. Eyelines were a big thing. Once I figured out the eyelines, I think it was seamless. QASABIAN. One thing we did on Searching was before we actually got to set and before we started even prepping the film, we did a whole previs of the movie. So we had a rough assembly using, on Searching it was Anish, on this one it was Will and Nick, acting out all the roles. Basically, that gave us a roadmap. So when we got to set, we had this thing that we were able to pull up as a reference for the actors if they needed it, or for the department heads, to basically say, and quote, this is what your portion that we're filming today, the live action, this is how it's gonna fit into the full frame, and quote. So I think that was really helpful. Not so helpful, or what could we do better? You guys have anything? We're perfect. Laughs. CHAGANTY. I feel like we approached Easter eggs totally differently. With the first film, one of the things we were so excited about was how much excitement there was about all the little words in the back on Google Chrome, or when you type in a search bar, all the little drop-downs. And from the beginning, we were like, and quote, okay, Easter eggs are a huge element of this movie, and quote. Sev wrote a whole storyline on his own that is fully in the film, maybe a sequel to the Alien storyline that's in Searching, and, to Merrick and Johnson, these guys did a massive amount. OHANIAN. Who here has seen Searching? Okay. Did you guys know with the background? So, Searching is about a father searching for his missing daughter. In the background of that movie, on the sides of the screen with the comments and the news articles and the tweets, there's events happening, and that event is an alien invasion. Did anyone know this? I'm curious. So if you guys ever get a chance to re-watch this movie, which you will on January 20th in theaters everywhere, watch closely because you might find out what happened with those aliens. I'll just say that Johnson, oh boy, I sincerely hope that never sees the light of day. QASABIAN. I've already given it to home video. Merrick, I was Javi. Johnson, we were cooped up in our houses at the peak of the pandemic. It's just cabin fever, and acting out every role. Will went up on his roof to act out the Javi scene. Merrick: yeah. I got a little ladder, went up on the roof. Johnson: totally unnecessary, by the way. Totally unnecessary. Laughs. Merrick: you're right. I didn't need to do that. Laughs. Johnson: absolutely. I think the previs was, in some ways, the final rewrite of the script. We were assembling the movie, watching the movie back, and realizing, oh, that line. Or that scene isn't actually working the way we thought it was. So it was a perfect way to refine the story and the script before we actually sent it out and embarrassed ourselves in front of actors. Merrick: the finishing process was about the same, but the editing process got quite a bit faster because of some changes they made that are probably too technical to be worth going into. But basically, we used to have to count frames in an edit. We would say, I'm gonna shorten this shot by 4 frames, and then we would go into a whole other sequence and change that by 4 frames, and they managed to solve that problem so we didn't need to do that anymore. Which really helped, as well as just being great editors. Johnson: I think the script itself was longer than its runtime. Do you guys remember? It was like 129 pages or something. QASABIAN. 128. Johnson: it was enough to be like, this movie might be a little long, but when we assembled it, it played a lot faster. If we were to include all the copy and everything that we wrote in the background, it'd be like a 500-page epic. Read: no. I think the script did an amazing job of painting the picture that they wanted to create, and I clearly saw their vision when I was reading it. Like I said before, I was on the edge of my seat and I was just so excited to be reading it, and all the twists and turns were really intriguing, but I try to be as intentional as possible when choosing projects, and I felt that even though this was a thriller and, yes, a movie that is made for the big screen, it has intention, it has purpose. I think Missing, at its core, is a movie about family, about love, about unconditional love, about making sacrifices, about growing, about self-discovery. There are so many things and so many themes that I think were touched on. Whether the messages that I resonated with were preachy or not, I felt like it had a purpose. It's not just a film that is entertaining, it's entertaining and purposeful. Read: for me, with any character that I embody, I think it is trying to step into my character's shoes and become them, and really feel how they would feel in the given circumstance. But I'm also a young human that has emotions, that has feelings, and I try not to neglect those feelings while I'm acting because I think my emotions and my feelings and my thoughts are beneficial and can inform my character. So I think it's more so of an intersection of like, yes, I am June, but Storm would feel a type of way in this situation, too. And so how do you marry those two for it to be a good marriage, and it could be grounded, and it could be as beautiful as possible? So it was a little challenging. Because, again, it's those technical aspects of like, and oh, yeah, the stakes are heightened, my emotions are heightened, but you still got to look up because there's a notification, and laughs. That's a little challenging. But I think with this role, it wasn't hard to embody June at all. Read: these guys are so fun to work with, like the biggest balls of energy. I think it was fun. I mean, I didn't have any problem working with them. Johnson. Good directing, to me, is good casting. And when you cast an actress like Storm, it makes our jobs much easier. You don't have to communicate as much. It's just little tweaks. Sometimes it came down to just technical things. Like, and quote. That was amazing, but just remember to look up there next time. And quote. Merrick. Once we had the previs done, we did consult it, but we didn't really need to look at it that much. We mainly just needed to know what side of the screen is she on. So there wasn't really too much of that from a technical perspective. Really, a lot of our job was just to see the movie in our head. And then just make sure that you were able to bring, Storm, the authenticity of it, and just make sure that whatever you were doing was gonna fit into that picture. Read. Oh, I was seeing a lot of nothing. Laughs. The computer that we used to shoot most of the scenes was a blank screen with boxes at each corner, or folders in each corner so I would know where to look. Or sometimes I'd get fortunate and it would be a real FaceTime call, and that was really cool. But most of the time, it was just really working with these guys and the team to let me know if I was doing it right, and what I needed to do more in a technical aspect because I didn't really get to share scenes with a lot of people. Johnson. Yeah. Certainly there was freedom. And then occasionally, just by chance. Bit. And quote. I think making a movie like this gives you a lot of latitude in post to change it up a little bit. But for the most part, going into it, we knew exactly where she was clicking at that point. So it was really a matter of checking that list and being like, and quote. We got it. Move on. And quote. OHANIAN. The truth is, when we released Searching a couple of years back, we would often get asked, and quote, will you guys ever make a sequel? And quote. We always knew for sure. CHAGANTY. No. OHANIAN. No. We will never make a sequel. So the honest to God answer is, I got a call from Sony a couple of months after the movie came out, and they were like, and quote, you guys ready? Let's do Searching 2. John Cho goes after someone else who's missing. And quote. We were like, and quote. Maybe. And quote. But I was hesitant. I think for us, we really were proud of that film, and the whole team here had done such a great job on that. I remember I hung up the phone and I happened to be working right next to a good friend of mine who's a director himself, a guy named Ryan Coogler, who directed Black Panther. This is a 100% true story. I remember I hung up the phone and he saw me laughing and he was like, and quote. What was that? And quote. I was like, and quote. Dude, Sony wants to make a sequel to Searching. And quote. And his reaction was like, and quote. Dude. Hell. Yeah. And quote. And I was like, and quote. I don't know, man. I've got to talk to Nat. I got to talk to Anish. And quote. I was like, and quote. Maybe we don't do this. And quote. I remember he looked at me, right in my eyes, and he was like, and quote. If anyone can make a sequel to that film, it's you guys. And quote. So he was like, and quote. Yell. Have to do it. And quote. I called these guys, they had the same initial reaction as me. Then we were like, and quote. Who's gonna direct it? And quote. And then we realized we have the greatest directors right there. Then we started ideating on what could the sequel be. CHAGANTY. Yeah. We went through a lot of ideas, but we went back to the first one. Sev came and we pitched this early version of Missing, which was essentially a reversal of Searching. But we explored 1,000 different ideas like a serial killer, and just all these random approaches and realized, wow, just simply switching the protagonist keeps what's the heart of this movie, but it allows a totally different perspective of the internet. By just making the character a teenager, we've now changed the tone and the style of the film. These guys have brought such. In the editing room early on, we were basically like, if Searching was Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, what we're trying to do, or what these guys are trying to do, is do Into the Spider-Verse. Make it fresher, fun, more active, more thrilling. So yeah, that was a good idea, and then we landed back on that, and then we just kept developing it and developing it and developing it, and a few months later we turned it into the studio, and these guys got started writing.